I just wanted to get your opinions on things you can do to prosper in some probably coming up really hard times. Like Donald Trump said that we're going into a depression that makes the Great Depression look like a picnic.
Yeah.
And I've heard read some things about what happened in Russia in the '90s when it was so chaotic is coming here. And can you draw any parallels to things that would work? Like, a lot of these guys, are of a mindset to be entrepreneurial. And I think that's going to be the saving grace of America.
Right.
It's going to take a long time. But what are some things we can do that, would get us in a more prosperous position in the next few years? Because I think they're going to be really hard.
Well, of course, anyone that starts a business knows it's a very difficult thing to do, especially in an environment where we're in right now. There's a few industries, general trends, that are likely to outperform other industries. So if you're going to be in agriculture, if you're going to be in mining, so producing something real, those are likely going to be areas where you will see a lot of prosperity. So you see Jim Rogers, a famous investor, had mentioned recently that it'll be the farmers driving the Maseratis 20 years from now, not the bankers. So I would say if you look in just broad trends, long term, what industries to get into, I would say those two. Mining, agriculture. There's always a need for doctors and engineers, but I would say banking or finance is probably on its way down. There's too many finance people, like myself. So that would be my view of the industry. Entrepreneurs, if you're good at what you do and you're going to fail 10 times, if you're ready for a life of 10 years of struggle, and after that you're probably going to do very well, you can do that pretty much anything. You can do that if you're good enough, you'll eventually get to the top, right? But if you want general industries to get into, those are some you should look at. Did I answer your question?
Somewhat, like just pure things that would make sure that we're able to eat and be able to trade, barter, maybe.
All right.
Do you have any ideas on that?
I just bought a property myself, and I bought it with a half an acre. And it's out in the country. It's a well water, so I don't have to worry about city water. And this is just an insurance policy. You don't do this because you think this is going to happen. You do this just in case it happens. Half an acre is enough land to sustain yourself if you need to. You can grow, have a garden on it if you need to. Probably going to, I have a gun permit. I have several guns. I have a shotgun. And you got to know how to use them just in case. Again, this is an insurance policy. You don't buy a fire insurance policy because you think you're going to have a fire in your house. You do it just in case. So that's how I would look at it if you're really worrying about that worst case scenario where there's anarchy. There is a misunderstanding also, that's because we've all been taught this way, that without government, there is anarchy and chaos everywhere. That's not really how it is. There's people, historians studying Wild West, so-called Wild West now, where they see that there's actually less crime in the Wild West than there is now in the average city. Because if you went into a saloon to get drunk and you kind of mouthed off to some guy and you guys had a duel out in the street and one of you died, that's not a crime. There was a contract. There was a contract that said, I'm better than you, you're better than me, let's go duke it out. That's not really a crime. If you went on about your business, you were fine. So it doesn't mean just because the government becomes weaker and if there is a period of chaos, maybe there's more danger for a certain period, but if you're prepared, I think you'll be able to kind of come out of it. I tend to think it's really somewhere in the middle between complete chaos and then nothing happens. I think it'll just get harder from being in Russia at a time when there was a crisis, when that transition from Soviet Union to what we have now is just a high inflation and it's just harder to get the same thing. But people got along somehow. There's more crime, but some parts of this town, it's a lot of crime right now. So it's just, that's how I'd look at it. That answer?
Yes.
Question? Okay.
First of all, I really enjoyed that. I think I'm going to have to take a while to process everything because this is new material for me and it's really interesting. There's two things that I'm trying to wrap my head around from this whole paradigm and the history and things. The first is about gold, and you said the things that made it originally a good currency was that it would last forever, and it's useful outside of that. And now you say it's not tied to the economy. It seems like it's lost. It's you can create a plastic and you can bury it, and it'll last forever. So what makes gold still the good standard?
Good question. Well, you can't create more gold. You have to mine it. So you can create more plastic. So that's the reason why fiat currency is failing, because it's very easy to create it. Gold is used as jewelry. So gold, nobody throws away gold. That's really fundamentally what it is. Everybody likes gold. Some people don't really, I don't wear gold, but I know that a lot of people do, and a lot of people trust its value, and it has intrinsic value because people don't throw it away. That's really fundamentally what it is.
But like, it seems like a psychological thing that could, that feels very tenuous to me.
You're right. And the only reason that I would say that it stands the test of time. I mean, if you had a piece, do you have any gold? I don't know if you have gold, if you have any at all, or your family members have gold. Would they ever throw it away? Would they ever give it to somebody for $1? Or you say, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe you say you have family members like that, or?
Well, no.
Okay, so that's really what it is. You see, it's people cling to it.
Okay.
So they have value. They put value on it. That's really what it is. I mean, this right here, if they print more money, this is going to be worthless. This is just paper, and that's what they love. That's what the Federal Reserve loves. But that gold coin. Well, right. So again, the bills, there's not really any difference. Exactly. There's no difference between the ink that's on it and the way it's shaped. The gold, I can melt the gold coin, and it's still gold, right? So I can wear it as jewelry where people like it and think that I have a lot of money, or whatever reason people wear gold, and it's beautiful, fundamentally. So does that answer your question?
Answer it. And
okay.
The second question I have is about population and how it fits into this, because our population is growing exponentially, and it seems like what you said when we were on the gold standard, the deflation was it was linear. So it seems like you run into a situation where the country is getting poorer and poorer just because we're getting more and more people faster than the currency is getting more and more valuable.
I would say as the countries become more industrialized, they actually grow slower. As if you see, the biggest growth, population growth, is in Africa, which is the least industrialized. So population is growing, you're right. But if we're looking at standard of living, there's a few areas in the world that prove that no matter how populated an area is, you can very successfully live in that type of environment. Look at Hong Kong, look at Singapore. Just massive, if you call it overpopulation, but everybody's just fine. I mean, people are dying to move there and live there because it's so successful, because technology outpaces population growth. So ways to deliver food, ways to grow food, ways to improve medical care and sanitation, they outpace the growth of population. That's really what it is. And money supply has outpaced growth of population as well. So that's what increase. That's why you have. Continued kind of slow impoverishment. That's what I would blame for it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Gary, Hello. Okay. What's your end game for gold? This point in time might not come for another 10 years, but you mentioned in 1980 when interest rates rose and people obviously restored their faith in fiat currency. But what do you foresee the economic climate looking like in the future, where that comes about again, just so that we have some sort of a mental time horizon of how this should all play out, so to speak?
Well, So the end game, again, you want to look for, if there is a real resolve at the Federal Reserve, if you watch the news, and they say, for whatever reason, they're going to raise interest rates really high, not like 2%, because that will bring gold prices down temporarily, but they'll come back up again, because, come back up again because the markets know that the inflation rate is higher than that. If they say 8%, or eventually over a period they raise it to like 8% or 10% or 15%, then you can see the price of gold really tank, because at that point, fiat money, its convenience, and it will outcompete gold. Because you don't have to exchange actual gold, you can just use your credit card like you do now. That's not going to happen because they know that they will kill all the banks and they will kill the real estate market, which will kill all the banks. That's why the Federal Reserve has to keep interest rates very low, because they have to protect the monetary system the way it is right now. If they raise interest rates, they know that they're going to sink that. And then also, Obama knows he's not going to get reelected if that happens. I'm not saying Obama's any worse than Bush. When the Republicans get into government, get into power, they do the same exact thing that the Democrats do. So.
Thank you.